Yo, 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 welcome back to Brandon Smooth TV. Y'all know I've been waiting on this one, y'all. Y'all know this is my favorite horror movie franchise. I bring you the review for Halloween Kills. And yes, this will be a heavy spoiler review. So if you haven't seen it, click off and be sure to come back. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And of course, hit that bell for the notifications. That way you know when your boy put out a new video. Halloween Kills picks up right after the 2018 Halloween movie, which I really enjoyed for the most part. A lot of people call it a remake, but I don't necessarily consider it a remake. It's a direct sequel, and it deals with Laurie's PTSD and trauma that she had from the events of, the original Halloween movie. Now, this is just a broader example to me of the 2018 movie. Not only dealing with Laurie, but now they're dealing with the town and how they've been dealing with Michael Myers for over 40 years. Now, keep in mind, I know it's a lot of criticisms about the movie as far as how the townspeople acted, but I come from a small town, just like Haddonfield. I come from a small town in the Midwest, just like Haddonfield. I'm from Kansas originally. And I remember when a notorious serial killer made national news and everything. His name was BTK. When he resurfaced, my mom and them, I can see the fear in their eyes. They had us go home, make sure we checked all the rooms, make sure everything was locked, nobody was in the house when we came in, and they really took precautions because this guy was back on the loose that had resurfaced after like 15, 20 plus years. So as far as the ants that the town had and their reaction, it is, I've lived it. Like, I can see where they were coming from. So I'm going to run through the movie and just tell you my thoughts. It picks up with, of course, Cameron finding Deputy Frank Hawkins. He was walking home from the Halloween party, and Hawkins was the one that got stabbed by Dr. Sartain. But he's still alive, and they was able to actually get him home. It picks up with Hawkins because what happens is they immediately go back into a flashback from the 78 movie, and they show when Michael Myers actually got captured. Now, I know people may criticize this. I don't criticize it, and I'll tell you why. Number one, and you're looking at the shape, this looks just like the 1978 movie, y'all. Like, the look and the aesthetic, the clothes, the hairstyles, even the way they talk, they got that on point. And the only time I had problems when they show flashbacks and if it was to ruin the original movie. This did nothing to John Carpenter's original movie. It added on a layer, and it shows some things that we may have been happy to see Michael getting captured. So when they flash back, Hawkins is a young police officer, and they end up pursuing Michael Myers into his house, him and his partner. And on the way in there, his partner was saying, "Hey, I used to do play dates with Michael when we were kids, 5 and 6 years old, and he was always a weird kid. He would just stare out his sister's window all day." So, long story short, they go into the Myers house. Michael, one of the best freaking scenes, and the movements was perfect. Hops out of nowhere, grabs one of the officers and starts choking him. And Hawkins is sitting there like, let him go. And he got his gun. Pop, he accidentally shoots his goddamn partner in the neck. Now, later on in the movie, they go on and cover it up and say, your partner was struggling. He shot himself in the neck dealing with Michael. But this scene is so good because they got Dr. Samuel Loomis back. Loomis was back for a little bit, baby. No CGI either. Just practical effects and makeup. They did a good job. And that scene took nothing away from the mythos. If anything, it added on to the shape. To me. Now, present day you get Tommy Doyle. Tommy Doyle is sitting there with Marion Chambers, the smoking nurse. Lindsay Wallace, the little girl that was babysitting, and then Lonnie. Lonnie has some interactions too. And then Lonnie's scene, they show he had an interaction with the shape. One of the best ones I've seen too. So basically it's the town dealing with their trauma. And they come here they went to this bar, they go every Halloween, toss some beers back, and reminisce and, just thankful that they survived, at the end of the day. Now Tommy Doyle gets up there and basically lets the town know, look, this dude has haunted our town for over 40 years. And, we're still living with these scars. Meanwhile, the firefighters come put the fire out. Look, I don't care what you say. Michael was smart. This fool hid in the gun locker the whole time. He probably could have survived in there minus oxygen, maybe. and the smoke didn't get him, but he opens the gun locker and he just starts murdering all of the firefighters. Now, don't get me wrong, this was one of the best action scenes, and Michael got down. But in real life, if I was the firefighters, I'm leaving like a mug if I see a man come out holding a big old hook, murdering people. That's the police's job. I am a firefighter. I fight fires. I don't fight homicidal maniacs. The police does that. But one of the best scenes, and he's just ripping these people to shreds. I love when the sheriff come in, the big black dude to play the sheriff with the cowboy hat. As soon as he see the firefighter's body, he said, "Motherfucker!" Because this dude's still on the loose, and he murdered 11 people. Crazy. Moving forward, while they're at the bar, and this couple, this is the weakest man I've ever seen in my life. He's getting ran over by his woman. She's telling him what to do. She's telling him he need to punch his boss in the face. She's telling him he need to get some balls. And what he needed to do was check her from the beginning, but I digress. Anyways, they suspect Michael Myers is in the back seat. So Tommy Doyle gets a baseball bat, goes outside with some of the town people, and they go to actually confront Michael Myers. The car actually drives away and ends up crashing. So they go to where the crash is, and then of course nobody's in there. But basically, Tommy Doyle, he wants to form a mob. And he wants to get Haddonfield citizens together. They tired of this shit, and they want to go on and hunt this motherfucker down for good. Now, back at the hospital, we got Karen and Allison, and Lori, of course. Lori has a fatal wound, y'all. Fatal. They showed her going through emergency surgeries, her goddamn intestines and all that shit, organs and shit just hanging out her goddamn body. She is injured severely, way more than that of Halloween 2. Even though I know this is not canon for this timeline, I had to bring this up. She is mortally wounded almost. And that's what you have to understand. So they end up finding out Michael's still alive. Karen does. And she doesn't want to tell her mom because she knows if she tells her, she knows what she's going to do. Meanwhile, Cameron actually finds Allison in the hospital, apologizes for their little incident in the movie. Nobody cares, but basically say, look, we're going to hunt this person down. And after everything Allison been through, and she's a young teenager, you think you're invincible, she leaves with Cameron, Lonnie, and to go get up with Tommy Doyle and actually start hunting the Shape down. Now, the Shape, he's just been running around chilling. He actually goes to this old couple's house. And in Halloween 2, he takes the kitchen knife and leaves. Not this one. This is one of my favorite couples, too. I do like their canter because the wife and the old husband was funny. But they got brutally murdered. And Michael shows one of his most gruesome scenes I've ever seen in any Halloween movie. He stabs this dude after he's dead with like 5 or 6 or 7 kitchen knives. The Shape is mad. What's that Drake song? I'm upset. Michael's upset. 50,000 on my head is disrespect. Okay? He is pissed off. So he's going through massacring people. And I don't even think he's too worried about Lori at this moment. He's just pissed off that y'all locked him in the goddamn basement. Now, once they get the gangs going and they're going around, Lindsay Wallace and Marion and then the weak ass husband and his wife, they're going around trying to get everybody off the streets. And they're actually trying to patrol blocks. You take this corner of the block, I take this corner, and trying to locate Michael. Now, he ends up running up on some badass kids at a park. And these kids are fucking bad, first off. But they said it's the man in a white mask that's been watching them, and it's Michael. So Michael actually comes back. We get a perfect recreation of the scene from 1978 with Nurse Marion. And this time, he gets her. And he stabs the shit out of her ass. And then the weak-ass husband, he tries to get his stethoscope and choke Michael. That's the most heroic shit he did in the whole damn movie. He get murdered. And then the wife gonna come like Tomb Raider with a big-ass pistol. Ain't shot, ain't hit nothing. Missed and got her ass murked too. That's exactly what she get. Now, Lindsay gets some bricks in a goddamn Halloween, I guess it was a sack, a pillowcase, and she hits Michael over the head, and then, of course, he's pursuing her. Kind of reminiscent of the 1978 movie, too. I do like that. Now, Michael almost finds her, but it looks like she hides, and then Tommy Doyle and them end up running up, getting her, and they seeing all the crazy shit. Now, I love Lonnie and Tommy's banter back and forth, because it was funny, and Lonnie had me rolling when he seen them dead bodies. You'll see what I'm talking about. It was funny as shit. Now, there is another escaped convict, and there's two of them they're looking for. One is a older, chunky dude, definitely mental patient, long hair, and then there's Michael, of course, they're looking for, but they never seen him without the mask. So, at the hospital, the other inmate that escaped with the long hair, he's going there to get help. He's actually looking for help. They mistake him for Michael because this is the biggest probably critique that I have of the movie. The evil must die. I don't have a problem with evil dying. And I was down with Sheriff Bracken when he said, this motherfucker killed my daughter 40 years. Fuck him, he gotta die. And I was down with like some of the legacy characters coming in. But they stressed the evil must die too long. And the biggest problem with this movie, I had to say it, I don't want to say it's Tommy Doyle, but it's his motives. But you have to understand that drawing from Halloween 4, they're drawing from Halloween 2 and some of the other movies and putting them in here. So you got to remember that in Halloween 2, Laurie stayed in the hospital bed. That was one of the big critics had a problem with that movie. Laurie wasn't in the movie enough. In Halloween 2, she stayed in there the whole time, and then they had the little chase scene at the end. They complain about this in this movie. But you can't please the critics. You know why? Because let's say Laurie was fighting them the whole entire time through this movie, right? Just like in the first one, right? By the time the third movie came, you know what the critics would have said? We've seen this 2 times. They're oversaturated. We've already seen this 2 times. We don't want to see this no more. See, so you really can't win for losing. So, anyways, he gets the whole town at the hospital riled up. People are looking for their dead family members. People don't know where to go. They tired of the police kind of just giving them a runaround. And they end up going to pursue this guy in the hospital. Now, people say this is a bad scene, but the reason why I love this scene is because, to me, it showed how people with mental health disorders are dealt with in America. And there's one scene where everybody's yelling and chaos and running around. He's just sitting there asking for help and pleading. They end up chasing this guy upstairs, and he sees no way out. Karen tries to help him and barricade him in between this hallway, but he ends up killing himself. And it's a lot of people in America and just in the world that takes their own lives because they can't deal with their mental issues. And society just shuns them away. And we really don't know how to deal with that. So I thought that was a great caveat that they put that scene in there. And we need to look at the bigger picture as far as the chaotic scene in hospitals now due to the smack sheen and, the 19C. I don't even want to say it on YouTube. So I like how they had that. Also, this movie did stop production for COVID, so the chaos in the hospital scene, I thought it was good. Now, fast forward, because there's a lot of stuff that happened. I'm not gonna do the whole movie. We get to the end, and they go back to the Myers house. Michael ends up going in the Myers house. Oh, wait, I gotta talk about my dudes. Now I cannot leave my goddamn dudes out. One of the funniest scenes in this movie was Big John and Little John. Big John and Little John was hilarious. Their scenes was hilarious. I don't know why they didn't run when they heard somebody upstairs, but they end up locking the doors in the Myers house, and they're going to try to take them out themselves. Michael ends up killing them. Well, Michael has a heart. Michael, when he laid their bodies out, he laid their bodies out the exact same way they had a loving photo like on the beach or something. We got to talk about the shape, too, because putting Halloween mask on people, putting a sheet over your head, putting glasses on. Michael is a 6-year-old kid at heart, but he's also a psychopathic, demonic murderer. So, like, we don't know where he is, but he does have some type of twisted sense of humor. Big John, Little John, I like them. They was hilarious, and that comic relief was needed in the movie. Thanks, Danny McBride. I know you probably threw some of that in there with your writing. Now, long story short, they end up luring Michael back to his childhood home. They end up taking his mask off. Karen does after Lonnie gets killed, and Cameron. And Allison's fighting him. And then they kind of set a trap for him because she runs with the mask. She lays it in the middle of the street. Of course, Michael's moving slow and methodically like he does. Going to take his time to get it. But then when he reaches down for his mask, Tommy Doyle's there with his gang and the whole town. And the final showdown happens where Michael is just getting jumped. He gets jumped all the townspeople. He got shot 4, 5, 6 times. He's beating him with chains, baseball bats, and all of this. And then finally, Karen comes with the butcher knife, stabs him in the back of the neck, lays down, and you think it's over. But is it? So while Laurie Strode is kind of narrating what's going on, explaining what the shape is, how he transcends every time he kills and turns into something, this motherfucker gets up, takes the knife out of his back of his head, neck, And I'm talking about the best horror movie scene. He starts giving people $150s across the. I'm talking about legs. He's cutting people's Achilles tendon on the back. He's stabbing folks. He's grabbing people. He's when they call this Halloween Kills, Halloween Kills. They should have called it Michael Kills because he murders in this movie. His body count was tremendous. And the style and the gruesomeness of the kills, they got a lot of new ones. I'm talking about a glass to the jugulars, more butcher's knives than you can name, stabs underneath the armpit. He took one dude's head and squoze the eyeballs out. Like he just took his hand and like squished it. It was crazy. So overall, this isn't a bad movie to me. I enjoyed it. I see this movie as a bridge into Halloween Ends, and that's why, of course, Laurie wasn't in it as much as they wanted because they're saving that for the end once it ends. I think these movies do need to be watched all together. I will watch the 2018 Halloween and then this right afterwards. But overall, I enjoyed this movie. And the critics complain about Laurie not being in it. First of all, she was wounded in the first movie, real bad. Second of all, they showed her intestines hanging out on the goddamn table like Grey's Anatomy. And third of all, if she was in this, y'all would have complained that it was too much Laurie. We wouldn't have nothing for the end. But the biggest problem, of course, is the Tommy Doyle and the mob. The evil must die, as we know evil must die. But y'all don't have to keep saying it. Quit saying, show me, don't tell me. The best character in this movie was Michael. Didn't even say a line. But you felt his rage this movie. I felt rage in other movies, but this was the movie that you felt the rage. And then the cutbacks from 1978 movies, preferred. So that was the best shit. Michael's the King of Halloween. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And I might do another breakdown. It depends. Peace.